Welcome, everybody. My name is Christina Eckhardt, and I am the chair of the EOPH Early Career Professionals Working Group within ATS. And today we are delighted to have Maria Brancato with us. Maria is the National Director of Awards and Grants at the American Lung Association. And today she's going to be giving us a talk just to provide guidance into how funding decisions are made within the American Lung Association. So Maria, thank you so much for being here with us today, and please take it away.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eckhart, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I am thrilled to be here to share a little bit more of our awards and grants program, and I am going to share my screen in 2 seconds. Okay, can everyone see the slides?
Yeah, it looks great.
Wonderful, thank you. The American Lung Association Research Institute was launched in 2023, and it has 4 components that collectively represent a comprehensive approach of the Institute in promoting innovative research, collaboration, and translation of discoveries and scientific exchange. First, we have our awards and grants program, and that is what we're going to be focused on today. Our awards and grants program is basically funding for researchers at all stages, including early career to established researchers advancing investigator-initiated projects. Then we have our clinical research program, which includes Airways Clinical Research Centers, ACRC, which is a network of top medical research centers across the United States. Then we have our accelerator program, which was designed to turn scientific discoveries into practical solutions. And we support promising projects and innovative technologies that could significantly impact respiratory health. Then we have our science forums, which allow scientific exchange and collaboration in respiratory health research. But today, as I mentioned, we're going to focus on the awards and grants program. The program is currently funding 94 researchers to support innovation in the field of lung health. This funding enables researchers to explore new avenues of investigation and make significant contributions to understanding and treating lung disease. Each of our grants is carefully evaluated by a panel of disease-specific experts who score each research applications for its innovation and potential for impact. We are currently offering 9 grant mechanisms, which include the Catalyst Award, which is for $50,000 per year for up to 2 years. And this is for early career researchers with a mentor. Then we have our Innovation Award, which is for $75,000 per year for up to 2 years. And it's intended to support highly promising investigators who have the potential to advance the field of lung disease science. Then we have our Public Health Public Policy Grant, which is for $50,000 per year for up to 2 years, and it funds projects that support the analysis of critical public policy issues related to lung health. Furthermore, we have our Lung Cancer Discovery Award grant that is for $100,000 for up to 2 years. And as the name describes it, it's for lung cancer discovery. And any laboratory, epidemiological, or any groundbreaking project aimed at revolutionizing our current understanding of lung cancer and improving diagnostics, clinical, and treatment methods. Then we have our Emerging Respiratory Pathogens Award for $100,000 per year for up to 2 years, which was created to gain a better understanding of the pathobiology and the long-term and immediate implications of respiratory infections. This includes emerging problems in known organisms and new and emerging pathogens. And finally, we have our Indoor Air Grant, which is a new grant that we just were piloting this year. And it was created for early career and independent scientists conducting research to improve indoor air quality. This grant is offered for up to 3 years which is a little different than our other grant mechanisms that are offered for 2 years. And this duration ensures support and continuity for research in this very critical area. The grant mechanism is available this grant cycle, as I mentioned, and it's for $50,000 and $100,000, depending on what level you're applying as. Then we have our co-funding awards. Our Hastings Community Foundation Award is through this partnership, we have developed a new grant mechanism for independent investigators to conduct basic clinical and translational research in interstitial lung disease. Our Allergic Respiratory Disease Award with the American Academy of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology Award encourages investigators to conduct research into advancing the understanding of allergic respiratory disease. Then we have a new grant, ALA ATS, 120th anniversary grant for basic translational or clinical research, excuse me. Then we have the American Lung Association ATS Chest Foundation Respiratory Health Equity Research Award that focuses in disproportionately impacted groups. And finally, we have the Dalsimer Research Award, a mentor award meant to provide seed monies to junior investigators for researching the mechanism and biology of interstitial lung disease. In 2024, 62 scientific peer reviewers reviewed 178 applications and 51 exceptional projects, including projects led by Dr. Brent Stockwell and Dr. Weifeng Hong from Columbia University were recommended for funding. The chart you see here outlines a pay line by grant mechanism. So how are funding recommendations made? Applications determined by the administrative review done by the American Lung Association to be eligible for funding go through an external peer review process. Factors considered when reviewing applications include scientific merit, technical feasibility, innovation in approach, design, and methodology, project relevance to the mission of the American Lung Association, which is to save lives, improving lung health, and preventing lung disease, the applicant's experience, education, and evidence of faculty status or permanent research appointment, and ongoing institutional commitment from the department chair or equivalent, and the impact of the research on lung health and the likelihood that the implications will make significant contributions to the field. And our Lung Cancer Discovery Award, our Emerging Respiratory Award, and the Indoor Air Grants all required LOIs, and the deadline was September 18th. So sorry to say that deadline has passed. Hopefully some of you have submitted LOIs.
Maria, you're breaking up a bit. It's kind of, your signal's kind of coming in and out, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this better?
Yeah, this is better. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm getting a little closer. As I mentioned, the LOI deadline was September 18th, and I'm really hopeful that some of you have submitted your LOIs for one of our 3 grants. The LOI process includes 2 chairs reviewing each LOI and providing their recommendations, researchers submitting LOIs with projects that align with the American Lung Association mission and the criteria previously outlined are invited to submit full applications. Invitations to submit full applications are made in late October. So if you did submit an LOI for one of our 3 grant mechanisms, you will be notified by the end of October whether or not you're invited to submit the full application. Once you receive that full application, and also for the remainder 6 of our grant mechanisms, full applications are reviewed by 2 scientific peer reviewers who provide an overall impact score and comments, as well as critique that will be shared with the applicant for feedback at the end of the grant cycle. So looking at like end of July. We follow the NIH scoring system. 1 score is excellent and 9 is poor. Applications are ranked by their average preliminary score. The applications that have the highest scores are triaged and not discussed at the review, meaning like the ones that didn't score well. The remaining applications are discussed at the scientific peer review meetings, and the entire committee scores the applications when we meet in person. Next year, we're going to meet in person in Chicago. The best scored applications are recommended for funding, and here are some of our funded projects. And I'm hearing that I'm breaking up. I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it is still a little broken up. It's better, but it's still
It,
kind of in and
it
out.
might be the connection, which I don't know what you can do anything about.
Oh, I'm
Frankly.
sorry about that. Oh, I'm happy to share the presentation after. If it
Okay.
helps
Yeah,
you.
that'd be great.
Okay,
And I think you're
wonderful.
recording it as well.
Oh, but if it's broken up, then probably not the best. Okay. So I'm just gonna give you, you can look at the slide and see the research topics and the disease. This is Dr. Shanna Bala from the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center that was awarded the Catalyst Award for her project titled Examining Epigenetic Determinants of Racial Disparities in Lung Cancer Screening. Then we have
Maria,
yes.
sorry. Someone suggested if you turn your video off, that may help with the sound at least, and then we could still see the slides.
If I can turn my, okay, let's see. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, it sounds a little bit better. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I can try to move a little bit and see if that works.
It actually sounds better now.
Okay, great idea, whoever that was. Thank you for the suggestion.
Thanks, Laura.
Okay, so Dr. Ayobami Akinroy from the University of Brigham and Women's Hospital was awarded the Allergic Respiratory Disease Award for the project titled Matching the Right Patient to the Right Medicine in Allergic Eosinophilic Asthma. And then we have Dr. Gabrielle Yiwulu from the University of California, Davis, was awarded the Public Health and Public Policy Research Award for her project titled, What are the Long-Term Effects of Wildfire Exposures on Lung Health? So every year, once we award our new class of researchers, we actually post them on our website, and I'm going to share the link here in a little bit. But this is what it would look like. If you're interested in learning more about the projects that we fund, I encourage you to go to this website and you can filter by the topic, disease, or the grant type, and you'll be able to see previous projects that were funded as well as current projects that we're funding. It's very interesting and helpful if you want to know a little bit more about what we've previously funded. With that said, I can share 4 tips for submitting an application. And of course, I think that the most helpful thing for you to be able to do is to reach out to your colleagues that have been awarded American Lung Association grants or that have applied and received feedback. You have many in your institution. So I am happy to give you just general tips on how to submit a good application. So first, you would want to read the entire solicitation, make sure that you meet all the eligibility criteria, evaluate if it's a good match for your current career stage goals and expertise, pay attention to details early, visit Proposal Central well before the deadline to avoid any last-minute technical issues. And this happens way more often than I think I would like to admit. Getting very frantic emails at 11:58 p.m. asking for help because something's not going through or something didn't necessarily wasn't able to catch on Proposal Central or upload. So if you want to just start the process by making sure you're acquainted with the actual application in Proposal Central, or if you have any questions about the actual application, you can reach out to us, the research team, and we're happy to help you with any administrative questions you might have. Then you want to explore and learn more about your peers. As I mentioned, reaching out to peers that have been successful in applying and receiving funding from the American Lung Association, and also going to the Meet the Researchers website to see what other projects we funded. I think it's a pretty good resource for our grants to be able to do that. Then know your timelines. Applications are open now, but they close in December. There's no extensions. Our deadlines for all of our 6 applications now is December 6th. And if you submitted an LOI and you're invited for an application, that deadline is December 6th as well. Then you want to start early and give yourself breathing room for edits. Step away from your grant, replace the figures, and get peer reviews. And then consider how this fits with your other applications like teaching or other grant cycles. You really want to make sure that you know that this is a good time to submit this grant. Then play to your strength, highlight any techniques you've mastered or showcase solid pilot data you might have. This is your chance to really shine and show the world what you can do. Reviewers look at both the investigator and the idea. You want to leave the impression that you are the best person to conduct this research and that it fits perfectly into your career trajectory. And then don't be afraid to ask questions. Reach out to your research or academic mentors. Discuss your idea and map it out on a 1-page pitch for clarity, and connect with others who might have applied for ALA grants. And if you have any administrative questions or have issues with Proposal Central, you can always reach the research team, which would include myself, Susan, and Karen that are on the line. And that is the presentation. Now open for questions.
Thank you so much, Maria. That was incredibly helpful and very enlightening. I had a question, since a lot of people applying for these awards are early career, who are probably also applying for career development awards. Does having a K award impact your candidacy for these grants, as long as there isn't significant overlap in terms of budget and science? Like, are there any sort of strict rules with respect to K awards?
It depends on what grant you're trying to apply for.
Okay.
So if you're applying for instance, like our Catalyst Award, it would be fine applying with the K, and because it's a mentored award. But I mean, you wouldn't be eligible for like our more grants that are geared towards more senior researchers or more independent researchers.
Got it. Understood. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Maria, for your insightful presentation and all the tips that be on time. Prepare your grant a little bit ahead of the last deadline, not 12 a.m. And I have a question regarding innovation award grant. And I was going through the eligibility and the criteria for the like who can submit this grant. So if someone has K or R grant in past 3 years, they can apply. But my question is, if it can be a multi-PI grant?
So our grants are for individuals. So it would be one PI that's responsible for the grant, and that person would be submitting the grant and updating us on the grant. But you can have a co-PI or a co-I on the same grant, as long as there's an understanding that there's one person that's responsible for the actual grant.
Okay, and the second question, what about if the co-investigator has multiple grants? Like sometimes, with the mentors, you can send this grant as a co-I, or with your collaborators, you want to send it as a multi-PI grant. So what if one of the collaborator or co-I has more than one federal funded grants? So will that be eligible?
No, yeah. So I think that We only look at the person that's submitting the application, and that person's background and education and eligibility is the one person that we're taking into account.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maria, there's a question about portability across institutions in the chat.
Oh,
And the answer is some are, and the mentored awards are not portable. The mentored awards are not portable. The non-mentored awards can be.
thank you, Susan. And you would want to reach out to us if you are awarded. You would want to let us know why you're moving, when you're moving, and then that is a determination the American Lung Association makes on a case-by-case basis. But yes, we do have people that move from institutions during the duration of their grants.
Thank you. Any other questions? Feel free to either unmute or put questions in the chat.
I have a question about the Public Health and Public Policy Research Award. How closely does the proposal have to align with the public policy part of it? The public health aspect is quite broad, and a lot of projects can fall into this category. Does the proposal have to have a public policy component?
I think that it's meant to be broad in a sense that we allow the investigators to tell us what they're seeing, and we're not limiting you into what we think you should be researching. So I think that it doesn't really have like a limitation or like a standard that we're looking for. Susan, do you want to add to that?
I think that we do want to see some impact that you believe this could have on public policy as part of the application. Doesn't have to be researching a public policy event, but the public health we're looking at can, in retrospect or prospect actually, influence public policy decisions.
Absolutely, thank you.
I have another question for the awards that don't specifically center upon any one disease, like interstitial lung disease or allergic atopic diseases. Does the ALA have sort of a focus or a direction or specific themes that they're interested in funding?
I mean, I think I would answer that in the way, no, really.
Okay.
I mean, if it's related to the issues, related to the ALA's mission, we look at each category and then rank people by percentile and end up funding whomever is in the first 30th percentile. That's the way I would look at it, as long as it's related.
Understood. Thank you.
Dr. Eckhardt?
Yes.
If you go on our website, and I'm gonna drop the link here on the chat,
Sure.
you're also able to see some of the topics that we've had funded in the past. But as Susan mentioned, we're not limiting you to what you can research, but those are some of the things in the past that we have funded.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be really interesting to see.
Yep.
I had a question.
What I want to say is that we don't go into it with a closed mind. We have the peer reviewers and the committee like us to view what we get as applications with an open mind and decide the funding based basically on the science and the applicant, if it's related to lung disease.
Yeah, no, I think it's really great that it's so broad. I think that that's amazing. Laura, I think you mentioned you had a question.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for the presentation. I was just curious in terms of the determining whether you're should be applying for the mentored or non-mentored award. I mean, I'm sure there are people who clearly fit in the mentored and clearly fit in the non-mentored, but for that middle ground, what's your advice in terms of determining which way you should apply, for those kind of maybe later assistant professor or early associate professor? I mean, that's different by institution in terms of, where you move up how you move up the academic rank. So, are there certain guidelines in terms of other funding, kind of demonstration of other funding, or like a publication record that you would justify one versus the other?
So that's a really great question, and I think it depends on the committee chairs for each of the grant mechanisms. So I've seen committee chairs recommend applicants to apply to like mentored more than the independent grants often, but I've also seen them decide on having them apply to the more independent grants mechanisms. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you have a specific question about your eligibility, I'm happy to share it with our committee chairs, and they're going to be able to guide you in the best way.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any other questions for Maria and Susan?
This is Susan. I just want to say our program is a little big, but small enough that we can and are responsive to individual questions about people who want to understand more. So please don't hesitate, of course, to call Maria if you have a question. I'm retiring, so that's not so funny. But so we try to be responsive because we want to encourage application and we want people to understand where we are in our funding. So please just reach out.
I had one other question. For the indoor air quality grants, I didn't know if you were specifically looking for applications about indoor sources of air pollution versus whether an application about outdoor air pollution sources and how they permeate indoors might actually qualify. Because there is a lot of interest, I think, in wildfire smoke and how it impacts indoor air quality.
I think that would be an interesting focus, and I would be more than happy to share it with our committee chairs. That said, our LOI deadline for this year was September 18th. I highly encourage you to look at our website on around August 2025 to see the update on our RFP and if there's like any changes on what we are looking for in the indoor air. For this year, I think that would have been a great focus and a great topic to research.
Okay, thanks.
I think it makes sense as well. I mean, the source of indoor air is generally outdoor air, so
yeah,
it can be outdoor air. So I don't think we ignore it because of the source. We're looking at the health outcomes and how we can improve, reduce exposure and improve health outcomes.
Right, that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Maria and Susan, for coming. This was incredibly informative, and I'm hopeful that this will translate into several of our members applying for ALE grants.
And so are
That's
we.
wonderful.
Thank you for no, seriously, we're looking to be more inclusive, and we love that we were able to share. I'm sure Maria loves it too. We're able to share our application process with you. Happy to answer whatever questions you have in the future.
Thank you so much for putting this together and bringing everyone together for this meeting. Really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you both for coming, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from some of us soon.
Take care. Stay well,
Wonderful. Bye.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.